Marlowe translated Ovid's Elegies into an impressive English metre. His translations were already in circulation long before they were printed. This is evidenced by Thomas Nash's The Unfortunate Traveller, 1594, in which he quotes 2 lines from Amores. The Ovidian translations show an imaginative, loosely bound language that takes astonishing liberties in translation. The extent to which Marlowe's early translation exercises must have influenced his later dramatic work under Shakespeare and other pseudonames shall be illustrated by a few exemplary comparisons between Marlowe's translation and his works in Shakespeare's plays. It is extremely unlikely, indeed literally impossible, that 2 equally aged independent poets in London, Marlowe and Shakespeare, would have used the same poetic image from an elegy by Ovid, the wild bear in the forests of the fertile island of Crete, in such a similar way. Just relax and read and compare Marlowe's and Shakespeare's text. Only was Crete fruitful that plenteous year, where Ceres went, each place was harvest there. Ida, the seat of groves, did sing with corn, which by the wild boar in the woods was shorn. I was with Hercules and Cadmus once, when in a wood of Crete they bade the bear. Such gallant chiding, for besides the grove, at first glance, it may seem challenging to consider the sum of textual parallels between Marlowe's translations of Ovid's Elegies and Shakespeare's plays as coincidental or meaningless. Please reflect and compare on the following continuous textual and contextual parallels presented with different voices. Marlowe a female voice, Shakespeare a male voice. If Marlowe and Shakespeare were truly different poetic geniuses, you would have to conclude that Shakespeare disrespectfully borrowed from Marlowe. This is not a reasonable assumption for the true Shakespeare.
Marlowe, what makes my bed seem hard, seeing it is soft? Or why slips down the coverlet so oft? Although the nights be long, I sleep not though.
Shakespeare, last night she slept not, nor tonight she shall not, will find about the making of the bed, this way the coverlet, another way the sheets.
Like twilight glimpse at setting of the sun, or night being past and yet not day begun.
And see the brave days sunk in hideous night, when I behold the violet past prime.
My nails to scratch her lovely cheeks I bent, sighing she stood, her bloodless white look showed.
Henry VI, Part 3. The red rose and the white are on his face, the one his purple blood right well resembles, the other his pale cheeks methinks present. Henry VI.
She blushed. Red shame becomes white cheeks, but this...
Such war of white and red within her cheeks.
Great Agamemnon was, men say, amazed on Priam's loose-tressed daughter when he gazed.
'Tis known, Achilles, that you are in love with one of Priam's daughters, made to write whore upon. What committed?
Till Cupid's spout and fiery shafts be broken.
But I might see young Cupid's fiery shaft.
I cannot rule myself, but where love please, am driven like a ship upon rough seas.
And like as rigour of tempestuous gusts provokes the mightiest hulk against the tide, so am I driven by breath of her renown.
Such with my tongue it likes me to purloin.
My bloody judge forbade my tongue to speak, that my poor beauty had purloined his eyes.
"'Tis is great, but ancient cause of sorrow."
But comforts we despise, our sighs of sorrow, proportioned to our cause, must be as great.
And as a traitor, mine own fault confess.
I did confess it and exactly begged. This is my fault, as for the rest appealed, a recreant and most degenerate traitor.
In all thy face will be no crimson blood.
Alas, a crimson river of warm blood doth rise and fall between thy rosed lips. Ah, now thou turn'st away thy face, for shame.
In white with incense I'll thine altars greet.
With your uncleanness that which is divine, offer pure incense to so pure a shrine, that spots and stains love's modest snow-white weed.
Myself, poor wretch, mine own gifts now envy.
Cymbeline, and so I am awake, poor wretches, that depend. Hamlet pulled the poor wretch from her melodious lay. Henry V, are heavy orisons 'gainst this poor wretch, poor miserable wretches to your death. King Lear, poor naked wretches, wheresoever you are.
White-cheeked Penelope, new Ulysses' sign.
All's well that ends well, let the white death sit on thy cheek forever. Henry IV, thou tremblest, and the whiteness in thy cheek, the taming of the shrew. Such war of white and red within her cheeks. Venus and Adonis, how white and red each other did destroy. But now her cheek was pale, and by,
Can I but loathe a husband grown abhorred?
Due of a bawd, why 'tis his right. Bawd is he doubtless, and of antiquity too. Bawd born, Pompey, you will turn good husband now, Pompey, you.
Her left hand held abroad a regal sceptre.
His hand to wield a sceptre, and himself, likely in time, to bless a regal throne.
'Tis time to move grave things in lofty style. Long hast thou loitered, greater works compile.
Yet be most proud of that which I compile, whose influence is thine and born of thee. In others' works thou dost but mend the style.
Yet by deceit love did them all surprise. In stone and iron walls deny shut.
Ere iron indignation against your walls confronts your city's eyes, your winking gates, and but for our approach, those sleeping stones.
Thrice she prepared to fly, thrice she did stay.
With Hecate's ban, thrice blasted, thrice infected thy natural magic.
Ah, whither is thy breast's soft nature fled?
Soft, O heart, lose not thy nature, let not ever the soul of Nero enter this firm bosom.
Had the unknown interred in ground most vile,
Made to run even upon even ground, till this advantage, this vile drawing bias, to a most base and vile concluded peace.
in empty bed alone, my mistress lies, golden-haired Ceres crowned, with ears of corn. Why are our pleasures by thy means forborne?
Have I my pillow left unpressed in Rome, forborne the getting of a lawful race, and by a gem of women to be abused by one that looks on feeders?
Only was Crete fruitful that plenteous year. Ida, the seat of groves, did sing with corn, which by the wild boar in the woods was shorn.
I was with Hercules and Cadmus once, when in a wood of Crete they bade the bear such gallant chiding, for besides the groves
And sweet-touched harp, that to move stones was able, poet's large power is boundless and immense.
by the sweet power of music, therefore the poet did feign that Orpheus drew trees, stones, and floods,
And stately robes to their gilt feet hang down. As is the use, the nuns in white veils clad,
another 6 personages clad in white robes, wearing on their heads garlands of bays and golden.
and I will trust your words more than mine eyes.
That I may call thee something more than man, and after that trust to thee.
From a scientific perspective, it is impossible for the exemplary textual and contextual similarities between Marlowe and Shakespeare to be coincidental. They must have originated from the same mind. The similarities are too significant to be by chance. They point to a common source, suggesting the works were created by the same individual. The stunning textual matches, if you also consider the other 6 next comparisons, correspond in many ways to a DNA test.